going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at a Star Wars Black Series Retro Empire Strikes Back Bespin Luke Skywalker. This was a part of the 40th anniversary card backs for the Empire Strikes Back. It's actually got the old Kenner logo down here, which is pretty awesome. These card backs are really good looking. If I were a mid-on-card collector, I would probably want to keep this on card, but because the cards do look really good. I actually think these look a lot better than the Galaxy cards, obviously for nostalgia reasons only. It does have a little read up right here. Just says pretty much commemorating the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back with these figures, blah, 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 all that stuff. The figures in the wave, and let me just bring my camera up here. Those are the figures in the wave. AT-AT Driver, Han Solo, which I think it's kind of weird. Like you had your chance right here. Instead of giving us the AT-AT Driver, which we have no AT-AT to put the driver in, probably should have went with Lobot right here. I think it would have made perfect sense, especially with the 40th anniversary wave, but they didn't do that. So we got Han Solo, Bespin, Leia Organa from Hoth, and Yoda, and Bespin Luke. And that's pretty much it for the card itself. Like I said, it's got Hasbro stuffs on it and blah, 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 blah. Let's get the figure out of packaging. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back with Bespin Luke out of packaging. And I gotta say, in some ways, it is a definite upgrade from the original. And I'll bring in the original in a second just to compare and contrast between the two. But the figure itself, pretty much the same as far as the mold goes. There might be slight paint apps that are different here and there. Like I said, I'm going to bring in the original just to compare it a little bit. But just taking a look at the new head sculpt on him, I think it looks... it's okay. It's definitely not the best Luke head sculpt. The Dagobah Luke, I still think, has the best head sculpt as far as the Lukes go. Mark Hamill's face, it just seems like he's got one of those faces that just are very difficult to capture on... you know, that new style of real scan face printing. In certain areas, certain ways, it looks like Mark, and then other ways it kind of looks, I don't know, not like Mark. It's got an entirely new head sculpt. Like I said, the hair is different. Obviously, the real scan face technology looks a lot better. It's got the same belt, same body mold, everything. Same articulation for the most part. I'm going to go through it just to see if there are any differences between the two, but I'm pretty sure this is the exact same body mold and everything. This is actually a lot of people's favorite look for Luke. It's, I want to say, probably my second favorite look as far as the movies go. Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker is always going to be my favorite look for him, but this is a close second, I think. But yeah, he looks really good. I like the paint detail going throughout the body. That is pretty consistent with even just the original, and it looks pretty good as far as that's concerned. I don't have any loose joints on him. He's very tightly jointed, which is really nice. Gives off that like brand new figure feel. I love that about new figures when they're nice and tightly jointed. But looks cool. He comes with his Lightsaber Blade, and he comes with his sidearm, which is pretty much, I think it's a DL-44. Same thing as Han, just a little bit modified, a little bit different as far as the scopes go. But looks pretty cool. I like it quite a bit. And he can hold, obviously he can hold his lightsaber. He can hold his pistol. His pistol strap is easier to strap. The peg and the peg hole are much simpler to strap in. A little bit easier on this side of the thing. I think the original had a pretty easy strap, but he can hold his pistol as well. So if you want to get him kind of in that beginning scene when he's just getting to Bespin, he's chasing after Boba Fett, excuse me. He's just kind of peeking over that corner with his gun out. You could recreate that scene if you wanted to, just like that. You know, pretty cool. I gotta say that maybe the face is growing on me a little bit more. I think it's just the overly blondness of his hair. I would have liked a little bit more black paint shading going throughout the hair like they did with the Dagobah Luke. But I still think this is really a step above the original. All right, so as far as his articulation does go, his head can swivel at a full 360 rotation. His head can look up about that far, and the hair doesn't get in the way too much, a little bit, but not too much. Head can look down. Let's see if you can pivot side to side. Not really, because it's on that old ball joint, or ball, I should say ball hinge joint. So not too much movement there, a little bit of a jiggle. Let's see if we got jive turkeys. Not really. I mean, it's a little bit of a jiggle, so I'll go, ooh! That's about it. Arms go up about that far, go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm. Single bend at the elbow, swivel at the elbow. He gets a little bit more than 90 degrees at the elbow. So pretty decent bend for an older body mold. Swivel at the wrist, hinge joint up and down. He does have a swivel at kind of like the diaphragm joint, technically. But a cool thing is that actually Luke's jacket was actually a little bit shorter. Like his waist is a little bit down here. So this is actually pretty cool that they decided to sculpt it right where the jacket ends and use that as the swivel. He can crunch forward and back. He can pivot side to side. Like I say, he can swivel again. He can do the splits. Not that great. I would have liked a little bit more than this, but I understand this is a mold from like 2013, so I'm not going to beat him up too much for this. Leg goes forward, leg goes back. He does have an upper thigh swivel, which is very tight, right there. And he does have double jointed knees, and we still have the pin joints because this is an older body mold, like I said earlier. He can point the toe about that far, not too great. He can point the heel a little bit, ankle pivot, and that's pretty much it for articulation. And I think, and he does have, vertical hinge joints for both sides here. I think this body could use an update. I think this is a popular enough look for Luke where we could use an update, so maybe some pinless joints with the legs. I would love it if they would have kept double jointed knees instead of going to single jointed knees. So maybe that makes me prefer having pins as long as we have double jointed knees. I feel like certain characters need those double jointed knees. But if they didn't and they just went pinless and single jointed, that I guess that's okay. Definitely need some butterfly joints badly with him. And last thing is we definitely need that new kind of articulation where we have a ball peg, 2 ball pegs. We have a ball peg that connects from the neck to the neck joint and then from the neck joint to the head. I think that would work a lot better for the figure itself as far as functionality goes. He's a little bit dated. You can definitely tell with that body mold that he is dated. I really like the belt though. I've always liked this belt, Luke's belt, and just his overall aesthetics look really good. If you wanted to, you can pop the blade off if you want to. Just got to be careful with these blades because they're very clear plastic and mine is really in there. All right, I'm just going to leave that in there. I'm not going to mess with that. That is really in there. I don't know. That's weird. But if you want to take the blade off, you can. If you want to hook this onto his belt, you can do so. It doesn't stay on the best way. It kind of pokes out a little bit, but if you wanted to, you could take that off and do that. The gun, like I said, it does store nicely and properly in there, so you can pop that in there like so, pop that on, and he is good to go as far as that's concerned. So overall, for an older body mold that's going on 10 years old now, I want to say it's pretty decently done. It still kind of holds up, I think. I know a lot of people are obsessed with pinless joints. I don't know, the pins have never bothered me. Maybe it's because I just grew up with pins all the time. People are like obsessed with pinless technology. It doesn't really bother me too much. I'm not gonna like, oh my god, this figure's horrible because it doesn't have pinless technology. I can still appreciate a figure without having pinless technology. So really quick, I just wanted to kind of maybe get into a pose really quick, and we'll do a quick comparison with old school Luke and new school Luke. So we've got the original Luke here, and you can see the glaring differences in just the head sculpts right here. Wow, what a huge difference we've got here. The hair sculpt, I think, I want to say that maybe, I'm trying to remember offhand, and I've seen The Empire Strikes Back so many damn times, but it depends on lighting and all of that. If he's got a hair color that's kind of maybe in between both of these. This comes off a little bit too bright. Maybe it's a little bit darker in hand as I'm looking through the camera here. It's a little bit darker in hand, but I feel like it should be somewhere, his hair tone should be somewhere in between both of these. But I don't know. For the time, this was seen as one of the better head sculpts for Luke. This and X-Wing Luke were two of the best. And it's definitely better than, what was it, Jedi Luke. Let me bring in Jedi Luke's face. Poor Jedi Luke. I can't wait till they actually get his head right on a Jedi Luke, because in certain areas it looks halfway decent, but then those eyes are just too big. They're just too bulbous, you know? So, I don't know. There's warts on each of these figures, but the originals, excuse me, but you know, technology is pretty crazy. These skin tones, even if you tried to swap this head and you want to keep this head instead of this head, if you do swap it, the skin tones are different on the neck, as you can see here. So they won't match up as far as this head matching that neck. So if you did want to do that, you'll have to repaint the neck or the head, whichever. Everything as far as paint detail goes, I want to say is pretty similar. There's a little bit more of a shine on this original than the re-release. So that's something to point out as well. The boots pretty much look exactly the same. I'm not noticing any difference on the back. Like I said, a little bit more shiny here, a little bit more of a matte finish for this one. So as you can see right there, that little bit of shine going on. I guess there's a hair bit of shine on here. Maybe it's just the plastic mold. But there's more on here than on here. And you'll notice it significantly if you have both of these in hand. But like I said, everything is pretty much the same. It's just pretty much the head sculpt, man. It is just glaringly different. That, and I think the lightsaber blade, I like it being a darker blue as opposed to this lighter blue. So, I don't know. But I would definitely prefer this over this. I'll say that, objectively speaking. I do think this is a nice little update. Yeah, that's pretty much it for like the old comparisons. Now let's get into some new size comparisons. Okay, first round of size comparisons. We've got two Marvel Legends here. On the right, we've got Sentry on the Hyperion body mold. And then on the left, we've got Shocker from the new Retro Wave. Okay, next up, we've got two Motu figures. On the left, we've got the Motu Classics Vicor. On the right, we've got the Motu Revelations Fisto. Okay, next up, we've got a WWE Elite Stone Cold Steve Austin flashback Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then on the left, we've got the NECA Retro Terminator T800. Okay, and next up, we've got a Articulated Icons Ninja in the Martial Artist on the right. And then on the left, we've got the DC Multiverse Three Jokers Red Hood. All right, next up, we've got a Lightning Collection Trini on the left. And then on the right, we've got a G.I. Joe Classifieds Duke. Okay, next up, we've got two SH Figuarts figures. We've got Black RX on the left, and then we've got Darth Maul on the right. Okay, and last up, we've got two Black Series figures. We've got a Lando Calrissian, General Lando Calrissian on the right. One of my favorite Black Series figures. I just love this figure. And then on the left, we've got another one of my favorites that I updated, which was the Heir to the Empire Luke Skywalker from the comic book line. And yeah. That's pretty much it for size comparisons. Okay, so for my final thoughts on the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back Retro Luke Skywalker here, I would give him I would say he's a 2 thumbs up. I think he is an improvement, even though he's on an older body mold. This also gives people a second chance to get Bespin Luke if they had an issue getting the original. I think it's a definite improvement over the original as well. I like this head sculpt much better. I think it looks a lot more like Mark Hamill than the old one did. If I had to choose between both head sculpts at hair color, I would say I'd probably still go with this one, this newer one, even though it's much more blonde. Luke seemed like a little bit more of a dirty blonde as opposed to I don't know, like a brighter blonde. But like I said, in hand, it's a little bit more subtle as opposed to I guess my lighting really bringing out the blonde here. But the eyes are much better. I want to say just the facial tones are much better. The shadowing or shading and just the 3D print technology is just so much better now. I think this does make it finally a complete figure. Not a 100% perfect, accurate depiction, but it's close enough, I think. And it's the best that they could do with an old body mold. Like I said, I would love it if they did redo this body mold with updated range of motion and articulation. But that's just me. That's what I think. I would definitely recommend him. Go pick him up if you have a chance to. He's going for reasonable prices right now, around that $20 to $22 range, especially this version. I think the original version is actually dropping in price too because this is a little bit more improved. But overall, like I said, I like him. Go get him. And that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.